love, joy, compassion, and the presence of God. Hawkins scale 540 to 600. Hello, this is Chris speaking. Shores of Infinity with another video on the Hawkins scale. This time the second part of the 500s video, 540 to 599. This is it. This is the best place. This is the most comfortable, most wonderful place to be in any scale of human consciousness. If you get there, stay there. And this is exactly what most gurus who reach there do. They stay there. Or if they explore any further, they return there. But most people who get there think, okay, this must be it. This is exactly what everyone describes, including the feeling of the divine presence. So this must be enlightenment. And it is great, but it is not enlightenment. Everything I said in the previous video, please watch the previous video if you haven't, 500 to 540. Everything I said in this video about the 500s is doubly true for the 540 to 599. It's all about love. But there's more. The love gets so intense, you cannot contain it. And you shouldn't. You should not try to contain it because it's not your love. It's not containable. It's something that streams down onto you, into you, and out again. And you should let this streaming happen. It's anyway not you who is doing it. And there's a feeling of a certain presence. So the logical conclusion for us, because we've been growing up in religious contexts of any kind, doesn't matter if it's Christianity or Buddhism or Islam or Judaism or whatnot, Hinduism, it doesn't matter. Most of us have been growing up in some kind of religious context, so we think, okay, this must be God. The Discovery of the Presence of God is also a very good book by David Hawkins. I can recommend it. It's one of the two best books, I think, next to The Eye of the Eye, which I have already reviewed. The Discovery of the Presence of God is the other amazing one. So from a 500 perspective, or even a 600 perspective, there is something that we call God, or that we can call God. Later, it doesn't make sense anymore to call it God, because God, it sounds like a being. Yeah? We've all been growing up with these images of some bearded old white dude sitting in the sky. That's definitely not what is meant here. Still, there is a phenomenon, and I already also made a video about that. There's a phenomenon that a lot of gurus are in the 500s, on the Hawkins scale, then in Spell Dynamics, turquoise, and on the Finder's locations, location 3, which is the religious path. So 500 turquoise, location 3. It's very easy to go into this dead end here of religion. I call it dead end because usually you can't go further. You can't get into the 600s and 700s because you get identified, you get attached to this idea of there being a god or a goddess or the divine or whatever, and you being in touch with it, him, her. And then you get stuck there. On the road to enlightenment, you cannot have any attachments, not even this one. Then there's this compassion thing. Compassion is still the best word. In itself, the word compassion is like empathy and so on. They're horrible words because it means suffering with or feeling with. It's not the same. It's just the love is so strong that you have something that we can call compassion for all living beings, for all human beings, for all plants, for all animals. You realize that they're doing their best, like little children in a sandbox. Even if they're hitting each other, they're doing their best, and they are on their way. Even the bullies are on their way and fulfilling their role. So you have a lot of compassion with everyone. Jesus, for example, talked a lot about compassion in one way or another. The original Islam is also a lot about compassion. And in Buddhism, for example, we have this specific Buddha of compassion. She has many names: Guan Yin, Avalokiteshvara, Maitreya, and so on. Like the love, it's not a personal compassion, it's a divine compassion with creation. Okay, but why did David Hawkins call 540 joy?
What does he mean with joy?
Again, it's the same thing than with love and compassion. It's not what we usually call joy that is meant here. It's something else. It's something like bliss, for example. Radiance, perfect, brilliant stillness, whatever you want to call it. It's the joy of the perfection of creation, the perfection of Maya. Here you cannot see Maya anymore as an adversary, as an enemy. Maya or Shakti, whatever you want to call her, then this is perfection. All is as it should be. David calls it the illuminated, exquisite beauty and perfection of creation. And this is exactly it. The joy arises. Again, like the love and compassion, it arises not really within you. It streams into you and again out of you. It's a constant stream of joy, love, and compassion, which is called bliss usually. It's very hard to say. It's because this feeling is so unknown. It's hard to know where it comes from, if it arises inside or outside, but it doesn't need a source. It's everywhere. Everything is everywhere. It's one thing. Everything is love. You might have experienced this already. Some people also experience this when they take psychedelic substances like ayahuasca or bufo. So everything is love. But of course they can't maintain it. Here you can maintain it. It's all the time there. That is why I said, if you get there, try to stay there. It's wonderful. And also, the first cities start rolling in. It can happen in the 400s already, but in the 500s they definitely start coming. And the more humility and surrender you show, the more cities you get. And one of the most common cities is actually healing properties. And many of the founders of healing traditions like osteopathy, homeopathy, and so on, they were located in the 500s. They calibrated in the 500s, like Hahnemann and Still, for example. Or let's take Viana Stibal, who started theta healing. Same thing. But all of them also, they went a little bit into the location 3 religious direction. And thus were not and are not able to progress. All of them even wrote that they think that this is coming from God. That God has taught them this healing method. And then something else David mentions is that in the 500s, you usually have the feeling that you need to use this knowledge and presence and love and compassion and healing and whatever, the abilities and insights you get here for the benefit of others, for the benefit of mankind. That is also one of the reasons why so many gurus are here, or why so many who reach the 500s feel the need to become some kind of spiritual teacher. Because they want everyone to benefit from this, everyone to feel this amazing grace. Amazing grace. Amazing grace. Which is fine, which is okay. If they would call it such. If they would not run around telling everyone that this is enlightenment, which it is not. Enlightenment starts somehow in the 600s The next video will be about that, and really starts in the 700s, which is a place that almost no one goes to, and if they go there, they cannot maintain it. Neither could I, for that matter. So look who's talking. The 540s are also the calibration where you may have visions. This compounds on this feeling of presence and the conclusion that there must be some God or divine thingy after all, because you have visions of him, her, it. Sri Aurobindo, for example, had a vision of Krishna in prison. And I could add an endless list of spiritual teachers, past and present, who had visions like that. But it is tricky, because it is very rare that someone has a vision of something that is not influenced by his or her culture. And people have visions of Jesus, for example, but not of Cthulhu, for example. Yeah? Because whatever you believe in already, this will appear to you. So this is it for today. The Amazing Grace. Have fun with it. Thank you for subscribing and liking the video. Thank you for joining me as a Patreon, and thank you for all those who already have done so. Blessed by Bliss are Morgan, Feike, Bob, Cyan, Ophi, Andre, Chris, Tamas, Rubina, Kim, Gabriel, Daniel, Carrie, Matthias, Robert, Brian, Björn, Mark, Patricia, Kelly, Goshen, Gregory, Alex, Tyler, Marcus, Alex, Thomas, Enda, Raghu, Brittany, Chris, Sam, Patrick, and Alan. Thank you. Thank you for supporting the British television industry. Thank you for supporting this channel.